Hello everyone, my name is Sangeeta and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about art and creativity. This is the third episode in the series of digital painting using GIMP. If you're new to digital paintings, I would highly suggest you to watch the previous two videos in which I cover how to make your first digital painting in GIMP and everything you would need to get that done. But before I get into the context for this video, I want to cover about GIMP's file format, which I should have covered in the first video. So each time you create a project on GIMP, before doing anything with layers or tools, save the project first. GIMP's project files have a .xcf extension which lets you keep the layers, colors and other information intact. Now back to this video, it's going to be a little technical in which we will learn about images, types, formats, PPI, DPI and the difference between them and so on. I thought of including this topic before getting into more on the features of GIMP because it may help artists to take commissions for digital artwork or help them sell prints of their work. It will also make it easier for you to choose projects, choose software which would fit into those projects, or take new strides in your art career. So without further ado, let's dive in. One of the first concepts every digital art enthusiast must know about is the difference between these two terms, raster and vector. Raster is called bitmap. When you click a picture in your phone, you generate an image. Since these images are rectangular in shape, they have width and height attached to them in pixels. This is called resolution, and traditionally it is depicted in width by height format. For example, a resolution of 1920 by 1080 would mean 1920 pixels along the horizontal axis and 1080 pixels along the vertical axis. The same concept extrapolates to laptop and mobile screen resolutions. Now, all images which are generated using a camera or via scanning something are raster images or bitmap images, as they have a defined resolution. If these images were to be printed on a physical object, they would print fine for their equivalent resolution in inches. But try fitting it into a larger size and the image pixelates. This is where vector images are helpful. Instead of pixels, vector images are composed of paths. These paths or shapes are a sample of which you can see in the images, are mathematically created, which keep the overall shape and crispiness of the vector image intact when they are scaled. If you are interested to learn more about the difference, there is a good explainer article by vectorconversions.com, the link of which you will also find in the description. Now coming back to the context of GIMP, is it a raster or a vector software? The documentation from gimp.org calls it mainly a raster program, but there are path elements to it as well. However, the documentation also points out that other software like Inkscape have better path manipulation tools, which means that the math behind path creation is better on Inkscape than on GIMP. So the overall takeaway is that it would be wise to use GIMP when the demand for artwork is mostly of the raster nature, like digital paintings or images for websites. Vector images suit well for requirements like logos, industrial designs and so on, where there could be a need for printing these designs in various sizes. GIMP falls short for these vector image creations. Now coming to file formats. Now that we have known the difference between a raster and vector image, let us look at file formats. GIMP lets you export your images in multiple formats. Herein lies the difference between saving and exporting. If the desired output from your project is an image, it must be exported. The setting is under File menu. GIMP lets you export images as GIFs, PNGs, JPEG, TIFF and MNG. Largely you would be working with JPEGs and PNG files. To know about the difference between them and how you can optimally export your files, GIMP also provides you with a complete documentation, the link of which you will also find in the description. In a short and succinct glimpse on this topic, mostly you would be working with PNGs and JPEGs. You can export both these formats from the same project, which is why it becomes necessary to save your projects in XCF formats first. PNG files are compressed without information loss, and hence they are generally larger in size as compared to JPEG counterparts. Any website or platform where you need to upload your artwork would generally specify the format of image along with desired resolution. JPEGs still work decently for most of the social media platforms like IG or Facebook. Other portfolio and art selling platforms like ArtStation or Behance or Society6 may ask you to upload PNG with a certain minimum resolution. So that was all about raster file formats. Now what about vectors? So as you saw that GIMP identifies itself as raster software but does have path elements with not so strong tools as Inkscape and other vector software. So you can still create some path using path tools and export them with .eps extension. These files will open only on GIMP and other software like CorelDRAW, which can support EPS. Now a little bit on Inkscape, which is the free go-to software for creating vector images. It does not support importing of EPS files. Though you can use Inkscape to export in that format along with widely used SVG. Both EPS and SVG files can open in GIMP with limited scope for manipulation. Here the takeaway is that GIMP is not the recommended tool for vector image processing and largely incompatible with creating vector files using multiple software. But it works well for raster images. Note that vector format also depends on the software in which the images were created, and hence the largely used formats other than EPS and SVG are PDF, AI, which is native to Adobe Illustrator, DXF from AutoCAD, and probably some more which I'm not aware of. Now we'll look at the terms you are going to use when making digital art, PPI and DPI. I kept it for last because I thought it would make more sense if I explained the concepts of raster and vector files first. So here it goes. PPI stands for pixels per inch on a raster image, whereas DPI is dots per inch on a printer. PPI is a digital entity, DPI is a physical entity. The more PPI, the better the image quality, but also its size. Hence, PPI values may depend on the usability of the image. For example, for most web images and social media, 72 PPI is enough. Increasing DPI values in digital images will hardly make any changes to it. However, if you create any digital asset which may need printing, it is often suggested to get 300 DPI. DPI, since they are linked to actual physical devices, follow some standardization for printing purposes. 300 is standard, but there are 1200 DPI printers available as well. Now, when to use what? As mentioned, if you are creating images only for the purpose of web or social media, a 72 PPI image will work fine, unless specifically asked for a higher value. However, if you are creating images or photographs for print purposes, the digital image just needs to ensure that it has a decent DPI value as well, at least 300. There are printers available at 600 or 1200 DPI, giving crisp printed resolutions. So this was all about digital images you will need to know on a long-term basis. This topic was difficult to simplify and to put together, and hence it took a month for this video to come out. But I hope there was something for you to learn from this video, and I'll see you next time, and we'll take in some basics of color theory. Goodbye.